Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Hello, good evening and welcome. This is once more the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. We're a little bit light this week as there's no Ste Beech. We couldn't quite get our diaries to align. So there's just myself, Dave Parkinson, hosting this evening, and we've got all of your usual features for the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. So we'll be looking at all the happenings up in Cumbria. We'll be looking at the North West Men's League. We'll be looking at the Yorkshire Men's League. And we'll be looking at everywhere in between. We'll also be having a catch up with what's happened in the National Conference League. We do have some featured interviews. So over the weekend, I was at the game between Ashton Bears and Shevington Sharks. I spoke with the Shevington Sharks boss, Dave Banks, at some length, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you that interview. I've also got some feedback as well from Dave Picton, who's the Ashton Bears coach, on this run of fixtures that they have been having. So they've played 3 games in the space of 8 days. I mean, that's an exhausting fixture list for anybody, let alone if you're a community club. So we'll be hearing all about that. We'll also be hearing as well from Waterhead, who clinched their promotion courtesy of a defeat of Leigh Miners Rangers. And of course, we have audio to bring you from that particular game as well. It was our featured fixture on our Mixel coverage, which we've been doing up and down the country all the way through this season. If you haven't heard us, well, just listen out for when we've got our next match. And I'll tell you what, we'd be really, really pleased of the company. But I want to start, first of all, with Cumbria.
Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
OK, so up in Cumbria, Cockermouth, they came out on top in a hard-fought Premier Division clash with Kelsey in the Holman-Iggesund Cumberland League. It finished 20 points to 18, with Cockermouth crucially scoring 4 tries to Kells 3. Cockermouth held a lead of 14-12 at half-time, and both teams added a converted try after the break. For Kells, there were scores from Aaron Burns, Dan Starkey and Carl Garner, with 3 goals from the boot of Lewis High, while Cockermouth, they scored tries through Danny Price, who grabbed 2, Tyler Mars and Spencer Fulton, and that man Regan Tinian, he kicked 2 goals. Now Kells boss Jonathan Wignall said, "I was proud of how the club has pulled together to get a side back on the field after the disappointment of failing to get a team out the previous week. We had a number of players carrying heavy knocks, but they put their hands up to ensure we fulfilled the fixture. We had numerous chances to win a close encounter, but ultimately our lack of cohesion cost us in vital moments." Credit to Cockermouth, who played tough, and unfortunately for us, we couldn't get a decisive score in the latter stages. We now have a fortnight off to try and get some bodies back before the Cup semi-final against a strong Maryport side. Ryan Robb, he was selected as the Kells man of the match, and player coach Liam McAvoy, who was awarded Cockermouth's man of the match, said, "I was really proud of the lads for that performance because we were really up against it. We suffered injuries after, and we had 2 lads drop out late on, so really we just had 13 for much of the second half. The win means we're still in the mix for the finishing top, and in a fortnight we have a massive game against Wathbrow. Hopefully it will give time for these injuries to clear up." Now, there was also a Division 1 game in which Dissington A won 22-8 at Flimby. The Dissington tries came from man of the match Gavin Martin, he grabbed 2. Brandon Walker and Kelvin Lynch also got themselves on the scoreboard with 3 goals from the boot of Walker. Flimby scored 2 unconverted tries by Gary Steele and Nathan Kirkbride. Grant Underwood was their man of the match. Ricky Morrison, the Flimby coach, said Dissington played well, with a couple of experienced lads taking charge of a very young but well-drilled side. Penalties cost us, and when we went down to 12 men, it was always going to be a tough game. 2 of our forwards, Kieran Johnson and veteran Gary Steele, had excellent games. And in the other game that took place, so this was Wathbrow Hornets A up against Lauker, and they accounted for them by 30 points to 22. Callum Corey scored 2 tries. Mark Miller, Luke Davison, Roman Alec and Luke Spivey all claimed the tries for Brow. And Jensen Alstrom, he get 3 goals, while Lauker posted a Jordan Allen brace on touchdowns for Emerson Allen and Zenden Callender, 3 of which Keith Campbell improved. So, your results for this past weekend in the Holman and Cumberland League. In the Premier Division, Wathbrow Hornets A30, Lauker 22, Kells A18, Cockermouth Titans 20. And then your results that came through in the Holman Iggison Cumberland League Premier Division. Well, Espatria Hornets 24, Hensingham 0. The other game was Flimby 8, Dissington A 22, Askham 24, Ellenborough Rangers A 0. No fixtures slated for this week.
Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Okay, let's move on now to the looking at what went on in the Northwest Men's League, and well, your results as far as the last weekend's worth of action were as follows. On Thursday, after we had put the show out last week, in Division 2, Rochdale Mayfield A20, Leigh Miners Rangers A22, a great win there for Leigh Miners Rangers A. While on Friday in the Premier Division, it was Ashton Bears 38, Shevington Sharks 6. More about that game in just a couple of minutes' time. Halton Farmworth Hornets 10, Folly Lane 30. And then on Saturday in Division 4, Orrell St James A46, Liverpool Lizards 12. Fixtures this coming week. Well, on Wednesday evening in the Premier Division, Folly Lane host Hurst Finch. I'm hoping to get along to that one. And in Division 1, Ulverston, they host Dalton. And on Thursday, we have in Division 1, Wigan St Cuthberts against Goulburn Parkside. I'll have to check my diary and see whether I can get over for that one. And in Division 4, Orrell St James A host Haydock Warriors. While on Saturday, the only game that is on the fixture list is between Caryshead Rhinos and Blackpool Scorpions. But a little bit more about the game that I was at on Friday night. So, as I mentioned, Ashton Bears playing their third game in 8 days. They were up against a Shevington Sharks side that also had 4 under-18s players on their team. And I tell you what, they did give their all, but ultimately it was Ashton Bears who proved too strong. So it was 20 points to 6 in favour of Ashton Bears at half time. At full time, 38 points to 6, and that was thanks to tries from Matty Smith, who grabbed 2. Tom Hopkins scored 2, one of which was a brilliant effort after supporting a break, which originally came from Rothwell on the right hand side. He shipped the ball into Matty Smith. Hopkins followed up to score. Chris Rothwell himself scored 2 tries. Daniel Hill grabbed the other one with 5 goals from the boot of Billy Newton, who was pretty influential throughout, to be fair. But ultimately for me, it was the experience of Chris Rothwell which told through in the end. For Shevington, well, they did actually make it 6-6 at one stage with a converted try from Cameron Burkitt. He also kicked the goal as well. He had a busy game at standoff for Shevington Sharks, but ultimately just overpowered in the end. Now, after the game, I caught up, first of all, with Dave Banks. He's the Shevington Sharks coach, and this is our conversation. Well, I'm with Dave Banks. We're after the game here at Ashton. It's finished 38-6 against your Shevington Sharks side. Talk us through that game a little bit.
Dave, are you any good at physics? I asked the lads that after the game about there was anybody any good at physics when they were doing the GCSEs at school, and someone said, yeah, I was. Yeah, it's force times mass. Right. Oh, what is force? And he said, mass times acceleration. I went, right, okay, tell me about that. Basically, Ashton were bigger and they ran harder, and that's what got them on the front foot, which allowed their halves to play a little bit easier, which then gave loads of space for their centres to make loads of line breaks. So that's effectively what's happened.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the centre that has done much of the damage, he is one of the most experienced players in this league, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I know that he's been around this competition for a long time, and you know, the last 2 or 3 times that we've played, he's played really well. So we sort of made a few poor decisions on him early, and I think we lost our confidence on our left hand side a little bit with him, and he took full advantage of it.
Moving on and speaking a little bit wider, you know, because obviously a lot of people just look at wins and losses over the course of a season, but there's a bigger picture here with Shevington Sharks and the way that a lot of the young players are going through, and in a lot of ways it's similar to what's happening at a lot of community clubs, whereby a lot of the older players have moved on, they've retired, and you've got to get players from somewhere, haven't you?
Very true. I think COVID didn't help, because I know that there's quite a few people that stopped playing rugby league, and that happened at Shevington, who were probably have been playing for a number of years. Lack of experience matters with teams. We had 4 teenagers out there, and that's no excuse. Ashton were a better team, but what we know is that if we continue to develop them and continue to develop our club, because our club from a junior perspective is quite rich, not money wise, it's quite rich, and that's because we've got a lot of people who want to come to the club because they quite enjoy it, because we've got a really good atmosphere with our junior teams. So that stands us in good stead for when they decide to become open age players. And we've got a number of under 18s players at the start of the season who didn't want to play open age rugby, but now they want to play open age rugby. So that's doing things really, really well from our perspective, and we're giving them an opportunity. So we hope that people will be Shevington Sharks players and then coaches and then officials for years to come, because we know that there's quite a few people that have been connected with this club who've been connected with it for over 40 years. So that's the sort of idea that we would like to have with our club, that those kids that are playing the game now get through and play open age rugby, contribute towards the team and the club, and then what we know is that they'll be able to contribute a little bit wider.
It's a long-term plan, that, isn't it? You know, and very much so. So all the building blocks are there. It's just about building it up now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I think if I'm going to be brutally honest, but we're probably not ready to play at this level consistently, because most of the better teams have got a real mix of youth and experience.
And it can be quite physical, this league, as well, can't it? With the likes of Hurst Finch and Oral St James, who's been there and thereabouts for a number of years.
Yeah, well, rugby league is a physical game, isn't it? You know, and they play the game in a physical way, in the right sort of way. And it's really tough, the way that they play the game. When you're a young person and you see that, and you've got somebody that's got more experience than you, and they're ready to tackle you and drive you into the ground and do those things that happen in a game of rugby league, then it can be a little bit intimidating. So we know it's a longer term vision, we know it's a longer term plan, we know that at some point in the next few years that will shift and it will turn, and we're really confident that we'll be up towards the top end of the division at some point. Look, I'm going to share with you my vision for the club, and that is that we get to play in the Challenge Cup. Whether that's in 2 years' time, or in 5 years' time, or in 10 years' time, we don't know. But that's my vision for the club.
Are you sort of enthused by some of the other clubs in this competition that have gone on and had Challenge Cup journeys of their own? Definitely,
yeah, and we've definitely seen that, and I know that I'm friends with the Oral St James coach, and never got one over him yet, but I see him doing that year on year in taking his team into a Challenge Cup competition and playing against some of the best amateur teams in the country.
I mean, you've got the setup now, haven't you? You know, I mean, I think the last time I was speaking to Shevington, and forgive me for being here so long, the clubhouse was being built, and obviously that is all in place. You mentioned about all the age groups, which they're all in place, and it's only a matter of time before that conveyor belt starts producing, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it is doing, you know, but I'm trying not to, I won't be too controversial, but what we do have is a number of professional teams that like to come and look at our players in our 14, 15, 16s age groups, and then give them opportunities to play in scholarship, and then maybe give them an opportunity to play in academy rugby. That's brilliant for them, it's brilliant for those young people, it's brilliant for the families. It isn't that great for amateur rugby league when they come to under 18s, and then retaining them in the game for when they then go on and play open age rugby. I'd love to see a change in that. I'd love to see a shift in that, where more of our younger players do stick around with our under 18s teams, not just at Shevington Sharks, everywhere, exactly. So that they can then, we don't feel as though we have to throw them in untested into an open age game. They can do that when they are playing at a really good level of under 18s rugby. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, to be honest. You know, I mean, both of us have seen the professional game, and we've both been on that other foot, haven't we? And been, you know, looking at clubs like yours at the moment and bringing players in. But I do think we've got to look at it more of a longer term vision, you know, and actually keep people interested and involved in the game, because quite a lot of the time there's players that get released at pro clubs and they think, that's me done, and they can offer so much more, can't they? Absolutely, yeah. Whether that is that they come back and play open age rugby, whether that's as a coach, whether that as an administrator, whether it's a match official. So there are opportunities for people to be able to do that. It's how we foster that as a sport and how we encourage that as a sport that will enable those people to stay in the game for as long as possible. So hopefully that will happen, or will happen more. I know it does happen, but not often enough, in my opinion. But yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see those players coming back and doing a little bit more in the amateur game. I know certainly, you know, for ourselves, we've been on our own journeys, like I mentioned. It has been a number of years since I've talked to you, really. How do you feel, you know, sort of like now about taking charge of a club like Shevington and having this vision that you have? I'm going to sort of correct you there. I'm not in charge. No. Right? The players are in charge. Okay. And this might sound a little bit wishy-washy and a little bit different, but pink and fluffy, as people might call it. I get to coach them. They don't play for me. They play for each other. They play for it's their team. That's the way that I look at it. And because it's their team, they hold the power. And if they don't want me to coach them anymore, they tell me. And I'll continue coaching them for as long as they want me to. That's a very different way of looking at it, really, isn't it? Yeah, because you know, I don't want to come across as being the guy that's in power, if that makes sense. Because I don't go out onto the field and go make 30 odd tackles and kick the ball and you know, run plays and what have you. I ask them, I sort of show them how to do it. I ask them to do things in a particular way, but they're the ones that go out and go and do it on the field. So it's their team. I get to coach the team because they want me to, and when they don't want me to, that's the time when they'll find somebody else to do it, and they'll have a different approach to me, but that's always been my thought process when I come back to this club. And I mean, like, it's fantastic hearing about the club and, you know, the plans for the future, the fact that we've got so many young players that are coming through. I wish you all the best. I know there's only a couple of games left for this season, and then, you know, moving forward for the next couple of years. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Thank you.
He had a couple of really, really interesting takes there, did Dave. First of all, I really like the fact that he said it's about the players and it's about them who pick the coach, really. And they decide whether or not they're going to play for the coach. So I thought that was a really interesting point of view, and one that I haven't really heard at community level, even though when you think about it, it's probably a really obvious thing, isn't it? You know, if you don't particularly like your coach, you don't want to play for him, then there's going to be changes which will have to be made, isn't there, particularly at community level. I get the feeling with this Shevington Sharks side, like Dave was saying, they're just a couple of years from really kicking on, and like he was saying too, there's 2 or 3 sides that are in a similar boat. So Ashton Bears are definitely one of them with the amount of young players that they have coming through their system. Shevington Sharks are another, Latchford Albion as well. These are all teams that I think, as long as they can carry on, carry on bringing that talent through, it is going to pay dividends at some point in the future, and I look forward to seeing that happening. Okay, so we've had a reaction from one side, but what about Ashton Bears? Well, afterwards, I caught up with Dave Picton, and this is our conversation.
Well, Dave, I'm catching up with you. I think my ban that you was considering has been lifted because I've seen you 3 times this season. This is the first win, 38 points to 6. How was it in the coach's eyes?
I think it's pleasing to get the victory. I think you come watching Thursday, I think a bit of a different game today. I think you saw there was a few battered bodies, should we say, out there. It was a bit of a flat performance, but we got the result. But this third game in 8 days has took its toll. There was a lot of young bodies out there and a lot of sore ones. Some of them 18-year-olds have played 3 of them games and stood up and held their own. That's the pleasing thing from these results, that the 18s have stood up. The experienced guys have stood up as well. So some of the older ones, the more experienced guys, they've stepped up as well and put the bodies on line for the club, which is what we ask. I said at the beginning of the year, we'll just look after ourselves, see where we finish, and we'll take it from there.
I thought today that experience, getting the likes of Smith and Rothwell back, that really did tell them that.
Yeah, I think Chris Rothwell is, you know what you get from him, no matter who he plays against or when he plays, you get the same. You get 100% effort in all aspects, and all the 1%ers he does so easily, and he brings the best out of the others. And when you see, like, we've got the young 18s coming through, they see him doing what he's doing.
It's inspirational, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see that others can take, I want to be with it, I'll follow him, and he sets the example, and that's why, we're happy to have him at this club, and what he's done for us has been phenomenal over the years, and hopefully he carries on again next year. There's just offers of that experience, even if it's only 5 or 6 games. It's 5 or 6 games of good experience.
I want to talk to you about this run that we've had, this sort of 8 days, 3 games. I mean, wow, there's some pro clubs that are complaining about that sort of run.
Yeah, and I get it, because there's some tired people. They're going to work, some of them, and doing long days and not having a rest, not having rest times, putting the bodies on the line. But if it doesn't stand as in good stead for this year, it certainly will for next year. Myself, Wayne and Neil, the coaching staff, had a bit of a get together after Thursday, and we put some numbers together, and I think the Oral team average age was about 23, Hurst Finch was 22, today was 24. But on Thursday, especially against Hurst Finch, the back line average age was 18. So 1 to 5. So it's good, and he was here. They didn't take a back step, no one, and we had a good go at him. We had a good goal. We didn't leave nothing there. I think it told today. I think that was what the performance today was. I think looking at today's team, young Kyle off the bench, number 19. I didn't really know much about him, but what I've seen of him since he stepped up, he's going to be a phenomenal player for this club. Really, he reminds me of Keane Hampson. I remember Keane Hampson coming through. He was raw, he was keen, but he's grown up to be a leader of this team at 21, and I think that's fantastic for this club, that somebody coming through the juniors and doing that is an inspiration to these 18s. Hopefully we've got Cal Cotter, we've got Connor, we've got Matty Ward, who's not here today, George Green. We've got a lot of these who can hopefully take privilege from Keane and go forward and do what he's done and be a long-termist for this club, like Matty Smith, who's been here a long time, Tom Hopkins, Jordan Green, Tinney. They're all giving good service, and they're wanting these lads to come through, because it gives them enthusiasm to carry on and pushes them.
There's a much bigger story at play, isn't there? Because a lot of times people just look at league tables, they talk about results, but for this club, it's about bringing those players through. It's about having, we've had a chat as well, haven't we, about the number of 18s that you've got and the youth that you've got at this club.
Yeah, as a club, this is probably the time now we're seeing it come to fruition, what they've done years ago. This team was always the one that was, Neil, who's been helping me this year, assisting us within the open age, he started it and brought them through, and that's why he's involved, ready to come through, and he's been a massive help. Don't get me wrong, he's took a lot of things off myself and Wayne, and supported a big influx of helping these players come through. But as a club, we knew these was coming through. Obviously last year we integrated them as youngsters, and it's helped them. Some of them, if they weren't playing 18s, would be experienced players playing for us this year, and we've actually integrated more this year. And the pleasing point, like you said there, is we're doing that. Obviously from a results perspective, we're not in the playoffs at the moment. It's a little bit out of our hands, but whatever happens, and we feel confident if we can sneak in, get a bit of experience against the better teams. And a one-off performance, you never know what happens, and that's what we're trying our best to do.
That's the beauty of playoff rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been caught out of it. We've had a good run. We've lost a lot of experience. As good as you young players can be, you still need that good experience, and we've lost a lot of experience in the forwards, which they lay the platform, and their experienced bodies, the big bodies. We've got, we had 18, 19-year-old forwards. We had a 16, 17-year-old on Thursday against Finch, who's probably the most physical team in the league, and no one took a step back. It's good, and I always say it'll help them develop as well. It'll help them for the 18s. It'll help them if whatever they do next year, whether they go 18s again if they can, or if they're stepping up, they'll be ready to play up age.
You've just got perhaps 1 or 2 games left now from a league point of view, haven't you, until the end of the season. What are you looking for in the last couple of games? These last couple of weeks?
We've got Blackbrook away, and then I think we've got Folly and Alton Hornets at home. So obviously we want to try and win every game, because then obviously that puts us there's a good chance of qualifying for the playoffs. But it's just 1 week at a time. We've got Blackbrook on a Thursday night. I think it's not next Thursday, the Thursday after. So not the first week. Should be the first week of September. We're playing the Thursday night. So hopefully some of these 18s are available as well. If they are, they put their hands up, they'll be considered for selection. But obviously their season starts as well, so obviously they're going for the league as well. So we've got 2 teams at the under 18s, both going for the league, and then the B team of the 18s in the cup final as well. So when we talk about that, the youngsters coming through, we're in a really good place as a club, and that pleases me more than anything.
And that's where the excitement comes from, isn't it? Because that you've got this whole range of players now that they've got a taste for it.
Yeah, certainly. You've got to, I always say when you've got adversity in the club, things aren't going right, it stands you instead for when you're going well. And when you're going well, don't forget the times of adversity. And there's a lot of teams like ourselves this year. Shevington won there, they've had a young kid. Latchford, they've got a lot of young players out there as well. Orrell's done it consistently over the last few years, and they're getting their rewards. That's where we want to be, is where we're consistently and not having a up and then down. That's where we strive to be, is just have a consistent team, and people strive, and when they join the club as a 6-year-old, they want to play for up major when they're 18, 19, and we're getting there as a club, and that's through the hard work of the chairman and people in the background. I just get to pick the players, or as a coaching staff we pick the players, kind of thing, and we get the enjoyment of trying to create an environment where they enjoy and want to play at this club.
And you can tell that, with the committee and everything, everybody involved, this is a club that's moving forward. These facilities, they say for it. I mean, it was hosting international games last season.
Correct, and we only do things when it's right as a club. That's one thing that I do like about this club. They only do it when it's right for them. They'll not do anything that puts them at risk or anything like that. It's all about building, sustaining the future, and if you do that, you're in a good place as a club. And having 200 kids playing rugby, and then you've got your girls as well, which is thriving here. You've got a lot of kids and a lot of adults, should we say, coming down. They're putting money behind the area, and it's good. it makes you proud to be from this area, and that's the other thing today. You know, a lot of these lads are Ashton lads. You know, we're not got other ones. They're all lads who's come through the juniors, and that's pleasing as well. You know, when you see a lad who's started at 6 playing for open age, you know you've done something right as a club, and the coaching staff who's brought them through, you know, that's the credit is that little lad that starts under 6, starts with a coach, and they get to open age and they come through. Whether they've had one coach or they've had 6, they're all in people's put hard work to get them where they are, and you know that's where we are as a club, and that's where a lot of clubs are at it. But we're getting the rewards, and I know whatever happens in the future, they'll be successful or they'll start moving forward like we have been doing.
Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and hopefully I can catch you before the end of the season.
Yeah, hopefully. No worries. Nice talking again. It's always nice to catch up.
Always great to have a chat with Dave Picton. Great to catch up, and I know he's been particularly busy of late with this run of fixtures, but he just said, well, you know, we're getting on with it. It's one of those. And again, similar to Dave Banks with Shevington, he's been able to blood a lot of young players this year. And I already said last week when I was discussing with Steve how I thought they'd went and given a particularly good account of themselves against Hurst Finch before getting overwhelmed in the end. That I think their time is yet to come. And I look forward to it happening. They have got a lot of young players. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, he's right in what he says. They went from fits and starts, but I thought they actually played some solid rugby, scored some cracking tries, and ultimately it was the defence which won the game and made sure that they were virtually watertight, other than that one try which Shevington were able to add. Now, I picked out, certainly as my player of the match, the vastly experienced Chris Rothwell. Now, boy, has he got a story to tell. But first of all, I asked him about what he thought of the game.
Well, I'm delighted to be alongside Mr. Ashton. It's Chris Rothwell. How are you doing, Chris?
Good, thank you.
I've got to say, from the game today, I thought the cutting edge that you provided and being back in the side, that really helped the efforts of the side.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the forwards really laid the platform early doors, and you know, me and Tom Hopkins really play well together. So we link up really well. He knows where to find me. So yeah, I'm a little bit part of it, but the most of it is the forwards. And Tom's always there to find me as well.
And I mean, I was having a chat just before with Dave, and this is a club that's in transition. How are you enjoying this journey, this new journey, I suppose?
Yeah, it was always going to be a transition year this year. We've had 3 or 4 really good years where we've been at the top of the league, and unfortunately not managed to get over grand final wins, which was unfortunate. But you know, I was going to retire at the end of last year, but with the amount of 18s lads coming through, I thought it was only right I play when I could. But the 18s lads who have played, we've had a tough spell the last 8 days. We played 3 games, and we've had 7 or 8 18s every game, and they've been absolutely outstanding. So just having that sprinkle of experience in there just helps them along. Really going to be the mainstay for the future. I won't be here, so and a couple of other lads, but they've got more than enough to carry on what we started 3 or 4 years ago.
Got to talk about your time here then. In that case, if what you're hinting is going to happen, and you know, you've got a finite time left of your playing days. Yeah. When did it all start, and how long have you now been at this club for?
I started here when I was 6 years old. So yeah, a long time. I'm 35 now. So yeah, it's been a long time. I've had a sprinkle. I've played at Inchrose's Bridge when there was no 18s here, and then I come back and played open age, and then I played at Swinton for a little while, and then as soon as I finished at Swinton I come back straight to Ashton because it's just a club in my heart. I just love the club, always have done. It's really special to me, so yeah, I've been here a very, very long time.
Do you feel that, you know, because I think that you can certainly pass that on, because I was having this conversation a couple of times this season about sometimes players come out of the professional game, they've been beat up a little bit, you know, they're a little bit down, things haven't quite gone perhaps as it might have been anticipated. Yeah. But you're one of the guys that's almost bucked the trend and come back, and dare I say it, you've had a brand new lease of life ever since, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think the amateur rugby is massively social, and this is the culture at Ashton Bears has always just been a massive part of why I come down. It's just a great family club, and without that, you maybe wouldn't come down. You maybe would just stick with your job and just not risk getting injured and things like that. But just the social aspects, having all your mates here, just the family, everyone's together, all the way from the juniors to the open age. It's just a lovely club to be part of. So yeah, it's absolutely enjoyed every minute I've been here.
And I think some of these younger players that you mentioned that are coming through the ranks, they're seeing the fact that you've been around that, and they're using it as a bit of an inspiration, I suppose.
Yeah, well, hopefully, that's my aim anyway. Just to set an example of coming here and just trying 100% and having a good laugh, having a good time. You're here to play rugby and try and win, but at the end of the day, we're not getting paid. We're paying to play, and you just want to enjoy yourself, enjoy playing with your mates, and get stuck in. And hopefully, I set that example to the younger lads, and they're seeing that.
Just a couple of games left of this season now, from a league point of view, and hopefully, if results go your way, you'll end up in those playoffs again.
Yeah.
What do you take forward for the next few weeks?
I think even before this, the RL and the Hurstfinch game, we showed in spells that we can really compete with them too. Even with the players that we've lost from last year, the first 40 against RL, we were really, really good. That was probably the best 40 we've played all season. We just got tired in the second half, and RL played really well. Credit to them. So yeah, the RL and Hurstfinch game especially, we've really took things out of that, thinking we can really kick on now. We played well tonight. We played some really good stuff, especially out wide, and it's really laid a platform now. We really want to kick on and enjoy the end of the season. If we make the playoffs, it's up to us. If we win the last three or four games, then we could get in there, and we just give it our best shot. We've got nothing to lose. Nothing's really expected of us. So if we get in there, we've got nothing to lose, and we'll just give it everything.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I'll go and let you enjoy this latest win.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Tell you what, our community players have some wonderful stories, don't they? And I look forward to potentially exploring with Chris at the time when he decides, right, I'm calling it quits. And I think he gave a heavy indication that might not be too far away. He would be all too willing to come and have a chat about it. And I look forward to that day, because I think with people like him and Matty Norton, who we heard from last week, they've got so much to give back to the game, and I think that their experience is worthwhile listening to. I think certainly when they get out on the field, players like Chris, they're able to lift their sides to a different level, and I think what that does as well is that proves a bit of inspiration as well to all the players around them who also want to do very, very well, and can see the fact that Chris at 35 is still able to put those types of performances together, and players want to emulate that. They want to still learn from what Chris has to offer. I just think it's a win-win, and even if Ashton Bears don't make the playoffs come the end of the season, they are going to be in a better place for the experiences this season and the experiences that people like Chris Rothwell are able to give to this younger breed of player that are coming through. But ultimately, it was great to have a chat with Chris, and I really enjoyed that conversation. Right, just a recap on those fixtures for the North West Men's League before we move on to what's happening in the Yorkshire Men's League. And those fixtures this coming week in the Premier Division: on Wednesday evening, Folly Lane up against Hurstfinch. In Division 1, Ulverston take on Dalton. On Thursday, Division 1, Wigan St Cuthberts against Goulburn Parkside. And in Division 4, Haydock Warriors travel over to Orrell St James A. While on Saturday, the only fixture slated to take place, it is of course bank holiday weekend, is in Division 3, and that's Caddy's Head Rhinos hosting Blackpool Scorpions.
Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Let's have a run through the action from the Yorkshire Men's League, and it all got underway last Wednesday with a fixture in Division 3 between Wyke and Elland and Greetland. Now, Wyke went down by 24 points to 30 in that clash. Then on Saturday, we've had a result here between Newsom Panthers 18, Alderbury Spartans 14, and in Division 1, Bradford Dudley Hill 18, Ossett Trinity Tigers 16, Cuttersyke Raiders 38, Wibsey Warriors 30. A couple of cracking ties there in Division 1. Meanwhile in Division 2, Seacroft Sharks 26, Emley Cougars 20, Castleford Panthers 24, Illingworth 0. And in Division 3, New Yearswick All Blacks against Elland and Greetland was postponed. Birstall Victoria 40, Upton 22. That's a great result for Birstall Victoria. And in Division 4, West Craven Warriors, they had the upper hand against Dewsbury Moor, winning by 34 points to 16. In Division 5, Scarborough Pirates were rampant at home to Batley. This was a really close encounter just last week actually, but it was anything close in the return fixture in Scarborough, with Scarborough winning by 60 points to 20. And in the Hull division, Skirler 24, Cottingham 0, West Hull 18, East Hull 26. So East Hull making sure that they could get the victory against their old rivals. Some cracking games that did take place. We've again, because of the bank holiday weekend, got something of a truncated fixture list. So in the Premier Division, it's Westcott Common who are at home to Almondbury Spartans, Newsom Panthers hosting Doncaster Toll Bar. In Division 1, just one fixture. Murfield take on Ossett Trinity Tigers. Meanwhile, in Division 2, Seacroft Sharks go over to Castleford Panthers. Brighouse Rangers set to head over to Illingworth. And Division 4, York Barbarians, they're hosting the West Craven Warriors. While Division 5, that sees Dearne Valley Bulldogs host Linley St Joseph's. Garforth Tigers, they're hosting the Derby Elks. And just one tie in Division 6, Guiseley Rangers, they're set to host Rycroft Hammers.
Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
A quick mention for a couple of other things that are happening. So in the Southern Conference, these were the results last weekend. So Brentwood Eels 0, Hammersmith Hills Hoists 24, Eastern Rhinos 36, North Hearts Crusaders 6, London Chargers 32, Bristol All Golds 42. Meanwhile, the Anglian Vipers are to be congratulated in the East Division. They won their grand final 50 points to 10 against Hemel Stags. Great result for them as well. So fantastic to see them. They're one of the clubs that actually has put in a bid for League One status next year. So again, interesting to see how it goes for them. From an Anglian Vipers point of view, Bedford Tigers are one of the other clubs that's put in, and of course the Goole Vikings. So I wonder what is going to be decided and whether or not each of their business plans stands up to scrutiny. But I guess these are all things that we will find out. Now, also, this coming weekend, it is the Barla National Cup Final. Unfortunately, I can't be there, which is a real shame, because the tie that's taking place at Featherstone Rovers, which has become the spiritual home for the Barla National Cup Final over recent seasons, actually sees two sides from over on the red side of the Pennines. So Orrell St James are set to take on Thatto Heath Crusaders. So it's a Wigan and St Helens derby. And I tell you what, I think that we're in for an interesting tie between these two. And I'm also interested to kind of see as well how many first team players are put into the side from Thatto Heath Crusaders' point of view. The heady mix of youngsters and experienced players accounted for Hurst Finch in the semi-final of the competition. Meanwhile, for Orrell St James, they were due to play against Rochdale Mayfield. But if you remember, there was the statement which came out from Rochdale Mayfield saying that they were pulling out of the competition. So they haven't played in this competition for quite some time. And I'm just interested to see sort of what that's going to be. I want to encourage as many people as possible, even though I can't make it, to get across to Featherstone. It's going to be an absolute crackerjack of a game.
Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Time for me now to reflect on the latest weekend of action from the National Conference League, and where better to start than in Division 1, where, well, certainly one team guaranteed their place in the top division next season. I'm talking none other than Waterhead Warriors. They were over at Leigh Miners Rangers. It was a game that we brought to you courtesy of our 13 Pro-Am Mixler channel, which if you haven't seen, we've been broadcasting selected games over the course of the season, running commentaries, audio commentaries, and we've been getting some fair feedback, and again this was another one of those games where we've received some really nice feedback afterwards, and thank you to everybody at the Waterhead Club for the kind comments. We do it because we love it, and we do enjoy getting out to the games. I know Steve would echo these comments if he was able to be on this show with me, but yeah, we saw a fantastic game, and here are the best bits of Leigh Miners Rangers up against Waterhead Warriors. So Perks, long ball to the middle. Owen releases it, finds Bridge across to Keegan Brennan. Brennan runs the angle, then it hands it on, and Jensen Hamilton splits the defence, races through. Try number 10 of the campaign for him. It is. Bridge links it wide. The tackle comes in though. It's a flying effort from Kenyon. Really good play from him, but is it just delaying the inevitable? Bridge brings it back to the middle with the pass. Oh, it's then slipped out to Andrew Joy. Joy burrowing for the line, going for it and scoring as well. That is a brilliant bit of work for Andy Joy to claim his 6th try of the season. He just stormed through that middle then, but it was all off the back of that ball movement and the pass from Bridge. Oh, we'll tell you what, that was a heavy challenge though. 20 metres away from the line, Leigh Miners Rangers to play it. Ball pass towards the middle. Run comes in from Kieran Reid.
Yeah.
Just 10 metres out from the line. Then fed right. Nice work from Gott. So he fed it back.
Yes.
He fed it back superbly. And they've just gone in. It's Matty McGowan who scored it.
Right, and that was on the 25-minute mark, Parker. But yeah, a lovely move there. Ball coming out wide to this left-hand side.
Ends up being Parks who takes it in the middle though. And Williamson this time gets the kick away. That's better.
Give him a challenge. Oh! And it looks like they could be in here. Under the sticks. Under the sticks, and it just shows you what finishing off a set can do there. Absolutely superb. But Will Ashworth managing to go in for the try there, making himself available, and that's 2 minutes.
40 metres out from the line, Hamer settles Miners down with a carry straight through the middle. Ball comes to this left side. Hoyles. Good run from Hoyles. It's a fantastic run from Hoyles. Ball on the inside.
Lovely play.
Liam Kenyon crosses for the try.
All credit there to Hoyles on 35 minutes. Could have easily passed the ball first off there, but he didn't. He held it up and then managed to pass it onto the inside for Kenyon to go in under the sticks.
2 metres to go. O'Grady, well tackled. Oh, he's offside though, he's Hamer.
That's putting more pressure on the Miners line.
I think he had to make that tackle though, didn't he? He had to try and make that tackle for going for goal. So this would level matters.
Yeah.
So Brennan at the start of this second half, which is what, about 2 minutes old now, Steve?
It certainly is, Parker. Just a minute and a half. Just looking to level things up.
Can he do so? So the conversion of the penalty is a good one. And more importantly, it's 18 all.
Yeah. Perks from dummy half. Find another 10 yards. Perks in there again to Joy. And Leigh Miners too quick off the mark and pinged. Waterhead taking the 10 yards. Nope, they're going to go for goal.
Well, this will put them in front.
And obviously, just eat a bit of time up as well. just make a bit more frustrating for Leigh Miners. Referee just stopping the movement while he takes the kick. Brennan, one step back, comes in, left-footed. It's distance, and it's a great kick. Nudges Waterhead Warriors in front by 20 points to 18.
And where's this ball going to go from Owen? It's going to go right. Oh, everybody stood off. He's got there, you know. Phil Joy has scored. It's a tremendous score from him. The ball goes up in the air. The celebrations commence. 24 points to 18, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Joy just did what Joy does. He got hold of the ball and drove straight through there and over the line.
To Brennan. 4 goals to his name this afternoon. Can he make it number 5? You better believe he can. 18 points to Leigh Miners Rangers, 26 points to Waterhead. That's gone dead in goal, so it's going to be a tap on the 20. The referee's whistle sounds, and that is all done. And Waterhead have secured back-to-back promotion. So 26 points to 18 in the final analysis to Waterhead Warriors. I tell you what, we should get some reactions, shouldn't we? And I love it when we get to speak to players. Not only did we get to speak to one player, we got to speak to 2. But first of all, we're going to hear from Gareth Owen all about this win and what it means to him to help his community club get up to the Premier Division.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
Well, I'm with an exhausted Gareth Owen, but you're exhausted for the right reasons. Yeah. You're promoted again. So when you first went back to Waterhead, did you go back with this in mind?
Yeah, that was the plan all along. With me, Phil and Bridget all retired from Oldham, we said we'll try and get in the Prem. We'll have a season in Prem, so we've gone back to back now. Job's not done. Obviously, we still want to win the title. We've still got to win two more games to get that, but we're on the road to it now. And like I said, the plan was to get promoted, and that's what we've got. So it's job done now, and then we move on to next year.
Let's talk about this game, over at Leigh Miners today. I imagine that you're going through all the emotions, to be honest, because you started off like your house on fire, playing some brilliant rugby as you have been doing all season, and I thought you're going to blow them away. Then they brought it back close. Yeah. Then you had a man sent off, and you still toughed it out. So you found, I suppose, 3 different ways to play in the same game.
Yeah, it was a strange game, like you said. We started pretty well, completing sets and stuff like that. We'd give a few yardage penalties away and scored a couple of tries in control. Then they scored off a couple of kicks, which we know they're good at. They've got that full-back who's a really good player, so we knew that he was a threat. And they got himself back into the game. And then Bridgie gets himself sent off. I didn't think it was that bad, but it is what it is. But the attitude of the players there, just to grind it out, I think it's unreal for people like Phil and Andy Joy to play the minutes they did in the middle. And then we lost a man in the warm-up, so we was 2 men down effectively. And just the attitude of the boys just to keep turning up, because we could have just gone into our shells and just rolled over from them, because they're a very good side and they can put points on, but we just toughed it out with completed sets. And to get a win over second in the league like that is sweet, but it's even more sweeter because one of their players was gobbing off last time at our place, saying see you at your place to our coach, so it makes it a little bit sweeter. But we move on now, and we've got a game next week. We need 2 more to get the title.
I know you've spent a lot of your career playing alongside Phil Joy. Have you ever seen him play any better? Is he playing better now than he was when he was at Oldham together?
It's just his attitude. Honestly, he's a broken man. He can't even walk sometimes, but he just keeps turning up. Same with his brother, just keeps turning up. And then the defensive attitude was showed in the middle. Edgy's made the tackles when we need to, but I probably made about 5 or 6 tackles in the full game, whereas you've got like Phil, not Bridgie, he got sent off. Birchie, all the middles, they're making 30, 40 tackles. I don't know what to say about them. It's just a massive testament to them, their attitude, and it's the respect for the coaches that we've got. The coaches at half time just asked a few questions of us, said turn up for each other, and I thought that's what we did. We just kept turning up for each other. We've changed how we play a little bit. We are a bit of a side-to-side team, but we kind of just toughed it out, completed a few sets, kicked into corners, and then just defended hard, and it worked. We forced a few errors off them. Like you say, we just got there in the end. I don't know how, but we got there.
Are these the more satisfying wins when you look through time and you're thinking, because I mean, don't get me wrong, you've won in all kinds of different manners over the last 2 or 3 years that you've been back on Waterhead, haven't you?
Yeah, I've not been used to winning every week when I've been at Salford, Oldham. We've been up and down, so when I've come back here and we've had a few wins, the 60-0s, we had an 100-0 or whatever it was a couple of weeks ago, they're not the games we want to play in. These are the cup finals here now. Going away to Leigh Miners, who are second in the league, 2 points behind us, they're the cup finals, they're the games we want to play in. And yeah, we got over the line, and that's just down to the coaches instilling the attitude that we've got, just the willing to work for each other. And you're probably seeing in the game people tying in from the middles, the edges shutting it down, and all the middles are just tying and making tackles for each other. And it's just unreal to say, like you're talking about Phil, just his work rate, he's probably doing 4 tackles a set and then taking 2 drives in the next set. It's just, that's all attitude, that it's nothing to do with fitness, because he was gone, he was goosed, he couldn't breathe, but it's just all about attitude, that.
Gareth, I'm going to go and let you enjoy this with your teammates, because you've earned it, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
How good was it to hear that from Gareth? I mean, you can tell that he is just so in tune with being back at his community club. And he's right, they've been on a rise and a rise and a rise for the last couple of seasons now. And I tell you what, they will be a real addition to the Premier Division next season. Great to hear from Gareth. But like I say, we have got another player point of view. And who better to ask than the man who scored the winning try, none other than Phil Joy.
Okay, I'm delighted to be joined by, I think, the most tired man at Leigh Miners Rangers. It's Phil Joy. Phil, what an awesome game. Congratulations, first of all, on winning promotion. Have you ever been involved in anything like that before?
To be honest, no. Obviously, we played a long time, and it was, at least for us, first half was nip and tuck. We probably won the first 20 minutes, they probably won the second 20 minutes, obviously going into half time, man sent off. And all we just said at half time was simply backs against the wall, we've got to lift that extra effort. And that second half, you can see, kept them with 12 men, kept them scoreless, which I think is incredible feat for us. I guess we've been like that, to be honest, we've been like that all season. It's probably more of what we've done the same throughout the full season, and I guess we're up.
Have you ever played a longer stint as well? Because it just seemed like you was out there for an awful long time as well.
To be fair, I play 80 minutes most week. No, I do play 80 minutes, but not at that intensity. That was an intensity we've probably not played at. I say again, with being the man down, you had to put that extra effort in. So that 40 minutes in the second half is probably the toughest one I've had in a long time. And
I've got to ask as well, have you ever proven the match winner? You know, I mean, that was, I mean, everybody mobbed you at the time when you went over there. It was like, blimey, he's just burst his way through the defence, and suddenly you've got like 10 of your own teammates on your back.
I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever scored the last try in such a big game to get us over the line. So no, that's one ticked off the bucket list.
I know I've spoken to you a couple of times. We've never actually done one of these interviews before, have we? But I have spoken to you a couple of times over the years, and we've said that Waterhead's been on a journey. You've made it to the Prem. I mean, did you even envisage when you walked through the door back at Waterhead that, I know you said that you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Did you envisage that you would do it?
It's an interesting one, because there's a lot of guys. I used to come down and watch them all the time, obviously, even when I was playing at Oldham, and there was a real good set of core lads there. And I think those lads coming back have just added to that, and I think there's full credit to the lads. You look at Jensen, Keegan, young Callum on the wing, and obviously the under-18s coming through. There's a lot of lads coming through, and I think that speaks volumes for the infrastructure at the club over a number of years. So I came back to start enjoying rugby again, and I guess this is the result.
Well, you can certainly enjoy it. Just quickly, I mean, I know you've mentioned there about the infrastructure, the young players coming through. These are the stories which, myself hearing about Community Rugby League, I love to push as well. So hearing clubs doing well, and I know that there's been a number of players that have pushed their way into this first team, especially at Waterhead over the last couple of years, who they've got England honours behind them, they've pushed themselves forward. It does speak volumes for what's going on at the club, doesn't it?
It does, and even today there's lads that didn't quite play that could have more than stepped up. There's a lot of lads in the second team when they come in, they come up and play to the same standard as the group. We went to Hull Dockers the other week, we had 9 or 10 out and got a convincing win. But obviously for me, I kind of came through the infrastructure, went and played at a high level, and I want to see the same happen again.
So it gives you real pride watching all this that's happening.
It does, 100%. Yeah, I think there's a number of lads that could go far if they keep going.
Phil, talking about going far, I know that you want to get on and sort of like enjoy this one. I'm going to let you do just that. But thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Oh, thank you, Dave. No, thanks.
Thank you, mate.
Good to hear from Phil there, and especially he's in the same mould really as Gareth before, because you can tell when you speak to him how much passion he has for Waterhead, how much it means to him to go and do this job. And he's been there, he's played, arguably he could still be playing Championship Rugby League. I think he's that good a prop forward, but he has returned to his amateur roots. This is one of those stories which I particularly love, and it's great that we get to speak to him. And okay, perhaps he hasn't been the match winner all too often in his career, but his role is a real understated one. He is just a driving force, a tour de force, to be honest, in the National Conference League. One of the top forwards, one of the most consistent prop forwards that I've seen, and perhaps unbelievably, that's one of his first interviews that he's given. I mean, he speaks for a job, but that's one of the first interviews that anybody's ever done with him about Rugby League. I find that really, really hard to believe, but I'm pleased now that he's now on the 6 degrees of separation list with Lateral Mitchell, who I once spoke to when he was an Australian schoolboy international several years ago. But great to hear from him, and well done to Waterhead. He wants more on securing promotion. They've now just got to get it would secure the championship. That's taking into account the vastly superior points difference. We'll tell you about what else happened in the rest of Division 1, but first of all, I do want to look at what went on in the Premier Division over the weekend. So I'll bring you the scores first of all, and we'll look at things in a little bit more detail thereafter. So Heworth 0, Siddle 50, Hunslet 46, Egremont Rangers 4, Wathborough Hornets 20, Thatto Heath Crusaders 16, West Bowling 10, Lock Lane 17, West Hull 42, Kells 0, and York Acorn 14, Rochdale Mayfield 20. Let's start first of all with that game at York Acorn, and certainly Rochdale Mayfield winning by the same scoreline as they did when they travelled up there last season. Now Acorn, they had tries from Swales, Hamilton and Myers, Chilton kicking 1 goal, but ultimately it wasn't quite enough as Mayfield overcame them. 2 tries from Dakota Tolhurst, 1 from Reisman and Butterworth, 2 goals from the boot of Parr. Mayfield led 20 points to 10 at half time, so just the 1 try scored in the second period. Over at West Hull, there was a couple of tries there from Moore, with goals split between Wilson, who grabbed 4, and Nicholas, who kicked 3. Other tries came courtesy of Wilkinson, Wilson, Opie Palmer, Tyson Wilson and Stewart. While Lock Lane not only secured their survival in the Premier Division, we spoke about them at some length last week. And well done to the turnaround that has happened over at Loch Lane. But they went over to Odsal at the weekend. So this was West Bowling who hosted Loch Lane over there at Odsal. They turned them over by 17 points to 10 thanks to tries from Moore, Birdsall and Price. Butler kicking 2 goals, Jones with the all-important drop goal which ensured a 7-point gap. And perhaps more importantly, at the moment it moves Loch Lane up to 18 points for the season, and with 2 games just remaining, all they have to do is basically better the results of York Acorn and they'll make the playoffs. It's an unbelievable story, and well done to Paul Couch and to all of the players there and all of the staff at Loch Lane. What a turnaround. It is fantastic to see. Now, a side that has been, well, it's had more downers than ups really compared with recent seasons is Wathbrow, but they also look like they're pretty secure of a playoff position with just a couple of games to go. This was following the 2016 win against Thatto Heath Crusaders. Farrer scoring 2 tries there. McCourt and King with the others. 2 goals from the boot of Sam Kerwin. Meanwhile for the Crusaders, Horton and Ashurst scored their tries alongside Speakman, with Horton kicking 2 goals. It was a real game of 2 halves, this one. Thatto led 16-0 at half time. What a turnaround. I have no idea what Ian Rooney, the boss of Wathbrow Hornets, said at half time, but he wants to bottle it because it really did turn his side around, and they ended up winning that one 20 points to 16. Hunslet had 9 different try scorers in the win against Egremont Rangers. Sharp scoring the Rangers' only try. Mulvaney, Miles, McClelland, Jack McShane, Dodd, Fields, Absent and Hayward with Dargan all getting on the score sheet. Jordan Gale kicking 5 goals in that one. And I mentioned before about Siddle topping 50 points once again. A couple of tries for Walsh, 3 tries for Williams. Hosty getting himself on the scoreboard, adding 4 goals, and probably with a little bit more consistency on the goal kicks. I mean, obviously, I'm bringing you these results. I don't know how difficult most of these kicks are, so someone somewhere will be shouting at this show at the moment, saying, "They were all out wide, Dave. You can't expect him to convert absolutely everything." And I get that. So, and especially with the amount of points that Louis Hosty has been scoring all the way through the season, hey, anyone can have an off day. Or maybe not score as many points as they normally do, but Siddle still winning by 50 points to 0. So Siddle still at 3 points clear. 1 more win will see them wrap up the Premier Division League leaders, and then just behind them is West Hull in 2nd, Rochdale Mayfield in 3rd, Hunslet in 4th. The aforementioned Wathbrow Hornets and Loch Lane make up the top 6. York Acorn tucked in just behind them, Thatto Heath just behind them, and then there's a real scramble developing between West Bowling, Heworth and Kells. Egremont Rangers, bottom of the league, and looking likely, I think 1 more defeat for them will see them return to Division 1. Now the rest of the Division 1 results, that was Clockface Miners 26, Ince Rosebridge 32. Tremendous performance from Clockface Miners before being overwhelmed in the end by Ince Rosebridge. Couple of tries from Hughes, couple of tries from TJ Boyd as well. Robbie Valentine kicking 6 goals. And again, you've only got to look at the try scorers for Clockface Miners to suggest that things are starting to settle down for them. They've become very, very competitive once again over the last few weeks. Hunt 2 from Jack Jones. Cresser, Lewis also going in for tries. Elsewhere, Dewsbury Moor Maroons bounce back to winning ways, defeating Stanningley by 40 points to 10. Couple of tries for Butterworth, couple of tries for Sam as well. Colbridge kicking 6 goals in that one. Stanningley, at the moment, they are struggling. They're now sitting in a relegation spot, and I thought that would be unthinkable at the start of the season when we saw them play in the Challenge Cup. So I wonder what's going to happen there. Hull Dockers, they're starting to kick on a little bit now. Heel scoring a couple of tries, Cook and Lythe the other try scorers, Dan Sudderby kicking 3 goals. That was as they defeated Wigan St Pat's by 22 points to 4. Pats had a try from Bradley, but were ultimately second best. It was 16-4 at half-time to the Dockers, and they got the job done and dusted. Skirler are also battling. I know they're bottom of the league at the moment with only 3 wins all season, but they made things difficult for Ulton Raiders. They actually led by 10 points to 4 at half-time thanks to tries from Taylor and Gray kicking a goal, but the Raiders, they came back in the second half, ultimately scored tries through Holdsworth, Craggs who grabbed 2, and Stevens with Walpole kicking 2 goals to overcome that half-time deficit and win by 20 points to 10. Elsewhere in Division 2, Barrow Island put a second half revival on the board, but ultimately it was never going to be enough to overcome Wigan St Jude's, who scored all of their 30 points in the first half. So they had a couple of tries from Holt, 1 from Garrido, 1 from Aaron Smith, 1 from Parkinson as well. Cassidy kicking 5 goals. For Ireland, it was Wright, McBain and Sneesby who grabbed the tries. Sam Jones with 3 goals there. There was a big result for Ellenborough Rangers as they look to banish any thoughts of relegation. They defeated bottom club Myton Warriors by 42 points to 10. Now, Ellenborough scored a couple of tries through Holborn, a couple of tries through Todd as well. Other scorers were Gillespie, Zach Alstrom, Okasini and Ossel, with Winter adding 1 goal, Okasini adding 4. The Warriors themselves, they grabbed 1 try through Robinson. Oldham St Anne's are, they've been a bit up and down in recent weeks, haven't they? And that continued at home with a loss against Dewsbury Celtic. It's a result that keeps Dewsbury Celtic in 3rd spot in this league. And Dewsbury Celtic won in the end by 17 points to 10. Celtic with tries through Russell, Teal and Whiteman. Paul Fulston kicking 2 goals, Yarrow with the drop goal which kept them ahead of St Anne's, who had a try from Deakin and Fletcher and a goal from Pogson. Pilkington Rex, they went down to champions-elect Shawcross Sharks by 54 points to 10. The Sharks with a couple of tries from Tomlinson, who also added 9 goals. All the scores go in the way of Barker, Murray, Windrow, Woods, Mearns and Wakenshaw. The Rex themselves, they had tries from Martin and Henry, with Kieran Napper adding 1 goal. And then the other result, Saddleworth Rangers, they're again kicking at the back end of the season. And although they are still sitting 3rd bottom, so they're still in a relegation scrap, but they accounted for Millom by 38 points to 24. Now, they actually led by 26 points to 6 at half-time. The Woolly-Backs, they had tries from Evans, Askew, the 2 Evans scoring tries, McPherson and McQuiston going in for scores, with Newbegin grabbing 2 goals, but it wasn't going to be enough. There was a couple of tries for Howe and 1 each for Ogden, Neil, Holden and Jack Bradbury. Josh Bradbury kicking an important 7 goals there, 38 points to 24. Saddleworth Rangers still 3rd bottom of the league, but it's all looking like it might even get down to point difference, and currently their point difference is 12 worse off than the next placed club, which is Barrow Island. In Division 3, Leigh East accounted for Dissington by 44 points to 6. A couple of tries from Andy Ball in that one, which were really, really important as East went on and improved a 14-6 half-time advantage to win by 44 points to 6. Perhaps an unexpected result in some respects. That keeps Dissington in 2nd spots and has really dented their point difference. Granted, they were looking at like 200 plus point difference anyway against compared with the East Leeds, but that has certainly given chances of their of going up as champions of Division 3 blow. So yeah, Eastleigh still top that division. Elsewhere it was Bentley 18, Driglington 30. Couple of tries from Ward in that one for Driglington, who did well after it being a very close run thing at half time. 12 points to 16 in favour of Bentley. Driglington put the points on in the second half to really run away with that one. And talking about runaways, that is certainly what Hensingham were able to do, and they were helped by 18 points from Wetherall, who scored 2 tries and kicked 5 goals. The other scores came courtesy of Brown, Holgate, Keller, Branthwaite and McAvoy. 5 goals, as I mentioned, from the boot of Wetherall. That was a 38-0 result against Seaton Rangers. Now again, we've only got a couple of competition games over this coming weekend because it's the bank holiday. It's one of those where I suppose if you missed any fixtures, they've got to be caught up at some point. So the games that will take place, however, are in Division 2. Millom host Normanton Knights. Myton host Thornhill Trojans. Tell you what, it's been a lively one again. Plenty for us to get our teeth into. So we'll be back again next week. Hope you can join us for our next show. But it's been a pleasure having you along for the ride here on the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. We'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.